What's up, everyone? Mike here from tastylive with another episode of Options in Action. In this series, we talk about beginner concepts, strategies, what have you, and we talk about them in an advanced way, a real-time way, practical way in the Tasty platform. The last video we did was all about call options. We talked about buying call options as a speculative tool, why if you buy call options, you can make more than if you're buying put options, if you're looking at equidistant options out of the money and you get that directional move, mostly because an increasing stock price with a call option that's out of the money, that moves at the money, just really appreciates a lot more with that increasing stock price compared to the downside where you have a depressed stock price with an out of the money put going at the money. So today we're going to talk about put options. And we're going to be talking about the long side. Again, why buying puts is a tough endeavor. Even though if you're buying puts on the way down and you get that move directionally correct, you do have a little bit of an implied volatility expansion in most markets, but the decreasing stock price can create a situation where you don't make as much on the way down. Really, I think the most focus that we're going to spend today is on short puts. Why short puts? I know they're simple strategies, but they are super effective strategies. Whether you're trying to speculate on neutral to upside movement with a short put, whether you're taking advantage of heightened implied volatility after a move, or if you're trying to acquire shares of stock, I'm going to show you what I look at with short put contracts, how you can manipulate your risk by buying back a put, moving it down and out. You might hear that term on the tastylive network. Moving it down a few strikes out in time and still collecting a credit. I'm going to make that real simple for you. But first, let's talk about long put options in the tastytrade platform right now. So here we are looking at SPY, and I've got this chart pulled up. This is the exact same chart I looked at when we talked about call options. Buying put options can be fruitful. You can make multiples of your debit paid, but it can be really tough in these markets, especially in something like SPY. Because first and foremost, when you look at the pricing of these out of the money options, if we look at the June expiration cycle, 57 days out, just by going about 30, 40 points out of the money, let's look at the 670 strike, about 40 points out of the money, trading for $7.30. If you look at the strike that's trading for 40 points out of the money to the upside, that would bring us to about the 750 strike. And clearly you can see the 670 is trading for $7 and change, and the upside strike is trading for $3. So right off the bat, I'm paying more than twice as much for purchasing that put option. And if you consider the fact that on a stock price movement to the downside, yes, implied volatility would expand a bit, but we're now dealing with a 670 price point as opposed to 700. So you have to reduce all extrinsic value around the new stock price when you're dealing with a smaller price stock. The opposite is true if you look at the upside. Now you have a more expensive product, even though you might assume that implied volatility would go down in that scenario, the increasing stock price is going to substantially increase all extrinsic value around these strikes here. So the example that I looked at was, if you're trying to buy a put option and you're trying to time it perfectly, or let's say you do time it perfectly, if we look at a chart in SPY, we can look at, your best case scenario from the top here where we sold off initially, end of February during the war situation and how that affected the markets. End of February all the way to the end of March, we had a pretty sizable downside move, and then that was quickly reversed here to the upside. So let's just say when we're at the bottom, this is around 630. If we look at the price change of a 630 put, we're going to see multiples of returns, right? We're going to see 2 or 3x, but when we look at the other side, on the call side, you're going to see substantially more. But at the end of the day, if we look at the 630 strike in June, we right click on this in the Tasty platform, we can view this option in the chart, and we can see, at the end of February, this option was trading as low as $9, and it got as high as $2,600 at the peak. So that's about a 3x return on your debit paid, going from $9 to $27. On the other side of the coin, on the upside, if we look at the 7,100 strike where the market's trading now, we can just see, comparing out of the money options moving at the money, this option was trading for $2, close to that at the end of March, and now we're trading for $1,900. So as you can see, the multiples are insane. comparing call options, buying call options for speculation relative to buying put options for speculation. And that doesn't include the fact that if you were to do this right now, buying this put costs you twice as much as buying the out of the money call that's at an equidistant strike point. So all that to say, it's really tough to be profitable long-term buying put options because yes, you'd have to be correct on the way down. You'd have to close it in time. If the market reverses quickly, all those gains go away. And you're paying, twice as much, significantly more than the upside. And your lack of multiple in terms of your win rate and the amount you win, if you're only getting 300% on your gain with one successful put option out of the money to at the money, but you're getting 10 times the amount or close to it on the call side, when you think about your win rate, you don't have to be right nearly as much if you're buying a speculative call option compared to buying a speculative put option. You have to be right a lot more on the put side because you're making almost 3 times less on a successful maneuver. So why am I going to flip this? Well, really, when you think about selling a put option, you are ultimately giving yourself the ability to leg into 100 shares of stock. And not only that, you are picking up or collecting twice as much premium. So in SPY, if I'm selling this put option at 670, I'm collecting $700 to assume 100 shares of risk in SPY at 670 or below. And let's say, in SPY, I want the shares at this level. Then it's a very conservative trade if that's the case, especially if I've traded small enough to where I can withstand any and all variance. All of a sudden, it's like, well, worst case scenario, with a short put option is that I get 100 shares of stock at a cost basis that's significantly lower than if I were to buy 100 shares of stock now. Also, if the market drifts around and drops a little bit, I still keep all this premium as long as this strike stays out of the money by the expiration of this contract. So you have yourself a nice risk reward profile if that's what you're trying to do anyways. And furthermore, if we look at the analysis mode here, I've got it pulled up. Analysis clicked here, and we're looking at the expiration risk graph. You can see here the 670 put, we've got this nice flat premium here where we keep the credit received as long as the strike expires out of the money. But let's say it goes in the money. What risk profile does this look like to you? It's ultimately a covered call. It's the same exact risk profile as a covered call, an in the money short put. And you can see here, this is now trading for $2,500. I just slid this in the money, but it's trading for $2,500 because I have $500 of extrinsic value associated with this short put that still goes away, equivalent to an out of the money short call if I had owned 100 shares, but I'm using a lot less buying power than if I were to buy 100 shares and sell a call against it. So an in the money short put, or if a short put that you sold out of the money moves in the money, it's the same risk profile as a covered call. You can buy this back, you can roll it out in time, collect more premium, and eventually, if the short put expires out of the money, you keep all the premium you collected, you gain back the intrinsic value that you would have withstood during that time frame, and you have yourself a nice trade. So really the key is trading small enough to where you can withstand any and all variance. But what are some of the flexibility tactics for short puts? And I think this is really where we get into advanced territory. I'm going to explain it as simply as possible, but this is where the true flexibility comes into play, especially in something like SPY, where we have put skew, meaning puts that are out of the money, 40, 50 points out of the money, are trading for more value than calls that are trading 40, 50 points out of the money. This really helps you when it comes to flexibility because when you look at this option and it's trading for $7, let's say the market sells off substantially over the next couple of weeks here. This $7 is going to increase in price, right? We're going to see this $7 go to $1,000, something like that. You'll probably be dealing with a couple $100 loss. But what if you want to manipulate your trade? What can you do? Well, to put it simply, whatever your option is trading for, let's call it $7.30, which is what's happening right now. If you buy back that option and you go out to the next cycle or any of these further dated cycles, or if I'm buying back June and I go to July, or go to August or go to September, I'm going to be able to not only collect the same amount of premium or more premium using the same strike, but I'm going to have the flexibility to be able to move it down and remove that intrinsic value risk potential. So what I mean by that is if I'm buying back June, the 670 put, for $7.30. Let's say I'm taking some heat on it. I can go to July and I'm just going to eyeball match this thing. 730. Where is the 730? The 645 strike. Okay, maybe I want to pick up a little premium. So I go to the 650. So here, what am I doing with this net transaction? I would be buying back the 670 put for $7.30, and I'm selling the 650 put 20 points out of the money, further out of the money. Yes, I'm going further out in time, going from June to July, but as you can see, I'm picking up $7.90 for the new put. That gives me a net credit of 60 cents. So all in all, if I were to make this adjustment, and we can show it here on the curve, let's get rid of the analysis here and just look at the raw values here. So buying back 670, moving it down and out to the 650 put, and picking up a 60-cent credit. What does this do? Well, first, it removes 20 points or $2,000 of intrinsic value here when you look at the difference between 670 and 650 right off the bat. It also shifts my current extrinsic value that I have in June to July, and it allows me to manipulate my intrinsic value risk, of course, 20 points lower, but I'm still picking up a 60-cent credit. So let's say I sell this option for $7.30. It chops around for a bit and we're still at $7.30. And I'm like, you know what? I want to make this conservative move. I want to buy back this put, roll it down and out, and pick up another 60 cents. If I collected $7.30 up front and I pick up another 60 cents by making this maneuver, I would eventually or ultimately have a net credit received of $7.90. If we assume I initially picked up $7.30, I'm picking up another net credit of 60 cents. That brings me to $7.90. And I've effectively reduced my intrinsic value risk, meaning where I take or assume the risk of 100 shares of stock goes from 670 down to 650. And as you can imagine, if we go back to the table mode here, we can look at further dated cycles. So let's say, things are getting crazy. I want to get really conservative. And if I see a volatility spike on the way down in something like SPY, maybe I don't want to go to July. Maybe I don't want to go to August. Maybe I want to go really far out to September and make a similar adjustment. So just as an example, using the same tactics, look at this here. So we have the same kind of adjustment. Yes, normally we like to stay in a near-term range where we're selling 30 to 60-day options for a nice blend of time and implied volatility value. However, if your prerogative is to reduce intrinsic value risk or manipulate intrinsic value risk as much as you can while still staying with one contract here, you can buy back your 670 put for $7.30 or 730 real dollars. You could move it all the way out to September and down 70 points. So what does this do? Coincidentally, we're still picking up a 60-cent credit here. I'm buying back this 730 option, selling the close to 790 option, but I'm moving my strike way lower. Instead of moving it 20 points lower down to 650, I'm moving it another 50 points lower down to the 600 strike. And the cool thing about this strategy is if you've already sized it small enough to where you have the ability to make these manipulations, you could sell this put or roll down to this put, plant your flag at 600, and if SPY eventually gets down to 600, you could take shares there. You still keep your $7.90 a premium, which means your break even is not at 600. It's actually about $700 below that. Let's say you take the 100 shares of stock of SPY at 600. You ride it all the way back up to 670. Now you've got yourself a scenario where you have a really profitable trade compared to where if you bought 100 shares now and then you saw big losses going from 670 all the way down to 600 and then all the way back, you're at a scratch if you're just trading shares of stock. Where in this position, you would have acquired 100 shares at 600, you would keep all this credit that you've collected along the way, and you don't necessarily have to stop there. Let's say the market drops to 600 and you want to move it further down and out. You can do that for a small credit. That just keeps your credits compiling along the way. And even if you didn't want 100 shares of stock, you could keep the 600 put because, again, bringing this all back full circle, an in-the-money short put is just a covered call risk profile. So this is why this is one of the most popular strategies, just selling a put. But when you take that slight advancement and learning how to manipulate where you take on intrinsic value risk, you can do things like this and you can really defend downside moves against you with products like SPY and other products that you're trading. Now, one thing to note here is just the fact that, again, this example shows you moving an out of the money strike further out of the money, or an at the money strike further out of the money. One thing I really want to emphasize here is if you're trying to buy back a 670 put in this example where it's still out of the money, you have a lot of flexibility in moving it out in time and further out of the money. But if you are buying back an option that has intrinsic value already, now you have a lot harder time moving that option because you're not buying back just extrinsic value and replacing it with extrinsic value further down the road. You're buying back an option with intrinsic value that has a lot of teeth and a lot of value. Intrinsic value is really going to accelerate as an option moves in the money because it just has the ability to gain value quickly when you look at intrinsic value. So one thing to note is if you're making these adjustments and your prerogative is to buy it back and roll it further out in time and down, it's easier to do and you have a lot more flexibility to make that move to the downside if you don't allow your option to pick up intrinsic value. Now, easier said than done. Sometimes you have a gap down in a market and your option opens at 8:30 Central when the market opens and it's already in the money. Sometimes you have the flexibility to where you're at the money, you're trying to make a decision, and you're dealing with just extrinsic value. But again, if you have intrinsic value and you're trying to buy back this option, now all of a sudden you have $2,300 you're trying to replace with premium down here. And as you can see, I'm just bringing this up, like I can't really move it down that much at all going out to September, collecting a small credit, because now I have to offset my intrinsic and a little bit of extrinsic value with pure extrinsic value. Way less flexibility. So again, if you're trying to make these maneuvers, making the maneuver before the option moves in the money is really going to help you just in terms of flexibility of moving it further down out of the money to the downside. So to quickly recap, buying puts, it can be profitable, but it is a lot tougher to do when it comes down to having a strong win rate and also matching that win rate with a high return on capital. Call options on the other side, like we talked about in the previous example, because you have that strong appreciation to the upside, your win rate doesn't have to be as high because you can make a lot more, assuming you're holding that option until it goes at the money in that example. But the short put side, plenty of flexibility. It's a great way to acquire 100 shares of stock in a conservative, high probability way, assuming you have the ability to hold 100 shares of risk with a short put. But at the end of the day, also, if you're trying to manipulate the short put and manipulate where you take on intrinsic value risk, you have to be cognizant of the fact that if your short put goes in the money, you're going to have a lot less flexibility to move it out in time and move that strike down like we showed here. If you keep it out of the money or have the ability to, make sure you're doing that and not allowing that put to take on intrinsic value. Again, sometimes easier said than done, but way more flexibility if you are out of the money and you're rolling it out in time and then moving it further down. And all you have to do is match up your credit received versus your debit paid. So again, if I'm paying $16.40 to buy back this put, I want to collect more than $16.40 in any option I'm moving down and out to. And again, that's going to be a lot easier to do if that option does not have intrinsic value. But let me know what you think of this kind of adjustment. Please leave your comments in the section below. Like this video if you like this kind of content. Subscribe to the tastylive channel, and we'll see you on the next episode of Options in Action.